Hey there everyone, this is Rajat. So I'm a full stack developer who also likes to build side hustles in his free time so as to learn new skills and build some marketing chops. So in today's video, I will be talking about the tech stack that I'm going to use in 2023 to build all these side hustles. So let's dive right into it. As you can see this Excalibur diagram, I have divided my tech stack into three portions. The first one is for building the application, for building the actual product. The second one is all about how I want to ship the application. So basically there are ways using which you can ship your application. And then the actual part of deploying it on a real server so that it can be served to the end user. So let's start with the building section. For all of my side hustle, I will primarily use next.js, which is a full stack framework built on top of React. So next.js is really great at building full stack applications. If you really want to reduce the time to market, it is your safest bet when it comes to building a full stack application, and it is quite fast as well. So I will pick up next.js as a framework and I will try to stick in next.js land as much as possible. If all hell breaks loose, then only I will migrate to something else. But for the rest of the times, it will be next.js. So next.js is basically a JavaScript framework. So naturally you can use JavaScript for it. But for my programming language of choice, I will use TypeScript because it helps me in detecting errors even before I ship the application. So TypeScript is really great at type checking and it prevents very basic errors, I would say. So TypeScript will be my programming language of choice, and for styling my web application I will use MUI, which I use primarily as of now in one of my product. I have built CourseLead, which is an open source LMS. So for that I have used MUI, so I'm pretty confident and proficient with MUI. But in my free time I have decided that I will move to Tailwind because it has been getting a lot of traction and there are some issues with MUI which I have discovered lately, and I just simply want to do away with all of those issues. So I think Tailwind will be a really good option. So my styling framework will be either MUI or Tailwind. If I want to spin something up really quickly, I will use MUI, but in the meantime I will also build up my Tailwind skills so that I can finally transition to Tailwind fully. So let's suppose I run into a scenario where I have to build an application which cannot just be built using Next.js. For that I will use Node. I am pretty confident with Node because I have been dealing with Node for a really long time now. So I have built an application for managing all the static assets for CourseLead. It is called MediaLead and it is built 100% in Node.js. And again, for the programming language I have used TypeScript. I'm also learning Rust on the side so that I can slowly transition into a system programmer so that I can build more efficient applications, because there are certain scenarios where Node is just not efficient enough, and for those scenarios I could have used Rust if I knew it. So I am learning Rust on the side so that I can move those parts of the application to Rust where the performance is required. So for backend it is Node or Rust, maybe in the future. Now let's move on to the shipping part. Now shipping is all about how you are going to take your application code to the actual server. So there are two primary ways now. You can either bundle your entire application using a container technology. Docker is a really popular choice, or you can simply ship your code to GitHub repo, and then from that repo the deployment platforms can pick up that code and bundle accordingly so that those code can be served. I will be using both of these technology depending upon the scenario. So if I am building a Next.js application, I will be inclined morely towards the GitHub repo side because it is so easy to deploy. You simply write your code, push it to the GitHub repo, and then you can deploy it directly on a platform which offers you static web apps. If that is not possible, I will fall back to Docker, which I am doing in case of MediaLead because it is built purely using Node. So I can bundle it in a way I want to, and then I can just put that Docker container anywhere. So Docker container for Node.js application and GitHub repo for mostly Next.js application. GitHub repo can also be used for Node applications, but I haven't tried it. There are platforms like Render and Fly.io and Railway which can do that. but I haven't tried it. So for the fail-safe method, I will use Node with Docker. I will bundle all of my Node applications using Docker, or if I am dealing with a Next.js application, I will push it on GitHub repo, and then I will integrate that GitHub repo using some static web apps platform. Now let's move on to the deployment side. So deployment is all about putting your code or your bundled code on an actual server so that it can be served to the end users. So for that, I am going to use either Vercel or DigitalOcean, because I have tried both of these platforms and these are really great choices. So if I am dealing with a GitHub repo, I will probably be inclined towards Vercel because the integration is just seamless. Write your Next.js code, push it to GitHub repo, and then it will be directly picked up by Vercel for deployment, and in a few seconds it will be deployed. So the entire cycle, the entire CDCI flow is just flawless. You do not have to look elsewhere for that. So if I am dealing with a Next.js repo, I will go with Vercel. Or Azure also offers something called as static web apps, which I am learning on the side. I do not have that much proficiency with Azure when it comes to hosting my applications, but I am pretty comfortable with Vercel and DigitalOcean. So for hosting my GitHub repos, I will probably go with Vercel, and if that is not possible, I will try to look into Azure static web apps. And for hosting my Docker containers, I will be using DigitalOcean because it is the platform I have been using for a really long time. I think I started using DigitalOcean in like 2016. This is my entire tech stack. There is one thing missing, and that is how will I store the static assets like images and videos if those things are required for my application. So basically for that, I am going to use DigitalOcean again, because DigitalOcean offers AWS S3 compatible solution, which is really friendly on the pocket. So I will be using DigitalOcean for that purpose. So this is my entire tech stack. Let me know in case you have any questions, or in case you have any suggestions related to how I can improve this further so that I can churn out application at a godly speed. Do let me know in the comment section. Also, if you're new on this channel, I talk about such issues on a weekly basis. So make sure you give this video a like and subscribe to this channel so that you can get all of my videos whenever I publish them. And I see you guys over in the next video.